Hello, welcome back to the same old program, SALAGI, the turning point that we have here every week. Obviously, I'm sitting, my name is Bankamani, and I'm sitting in for my man, Ahmed Manjang. He's not going to be able to join us today, but obviously the usual suspects are all here. Dave Mane, my son, is here with us, and Professor Dr. Lamin Conte is also here with us. And the issues that we are going to be discussing today are very, very pertinent to our situation as we speak, which obviously is about the elections and the electoral map. As you all know, the elections are going to be held very, very soon, in a year's time. But when it comes to politics, that's not a very long time. Things are moving in the Gambia too, obviously, very, very fast. So we're going to get started here. We are running a little late because of some technical issues that we were trying to get on resolved. And thanks to Bunjuru Online once again for always hosting this great program and being behind the scenes, making it happen for us. So, Dave Mane, if you want to say something quickly, and Professor Dr. Lavin Conte, if you both want to say something quickly, and we can get started here.
All right, thank you so much, Dad. Thank you for chipping in. Yeah, being the Nyancho. Yeah, at the very last minute we called on you and you answered. There you go. Yeah, thank you. I think, like you said, is my name is Dave Money. Obviously, I'm from Buford. I live in the UK. I think the topic of discussion today is very pertinent to what is happening in the Gambia. I mean, we have this new election bills to 2020, which will be in the legislature in the Gambia, and then also obviously. That goes back to these boundary issues we have in the Gambia, which have been unresolved. So we think maybe probably now is the right time, as any, to try and discuss this and bring it to the forefront. And then once again, the Gambians can discuss it and see how we can resolve our problem as one community, as one people, one country, one nation. Thank you.
Okay, well, Dr. Conte, as usual, we've been coming here on Mondays to engage Gambians and look forward to a productive engagement today. So that's it.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, you both. And Dr. Conte, obviously, Dave Mane, and folks, if you can see, I'm sitting outside. It's a very sunny day in Atlanta. So enjoying the sunny weather, but it's getting a little too hot for my taste already. Now, Dr. Conte, we're going to be relying on you a lot today, obviously, as you know. Since the last time you came up with all the data that we needed, obviously, to discuss the very issue that we're going to be delving into today. I'm sorry?
I said, let me go ahead and open the documents so that we can...
Yes, please. By all means, if you can open the document so we can revisit it, because we're going to rely on it a lot. I mean, people have to see for themselves what the electoral map looks like, the constituencies, the number, the population counts in all these different districts and stuff like that, with a view to getting a better understanding of where the things stand, and even where Kombo stands in all this. Its influence, its how the map has been manipulated, obviously. I mean, the gerrymandering, if you want to, if you can call it that, that has taken place, and the unfairness of it all. I think it would be very important to kind of, I know we have discussed this issue to some extent before, but it'd be good to reiterate some of the points that were raised earlier, which have a lot to do with, obviously, the gerrymandering that took place, especially on the Jame even. I think it started on the PPP government, but kind of got intensified on the Jame. And it's very, very tilted against the Kombo as a region. It just didn't. It's very, very unfair when you look at it. You can understand why I said that. But then numbers don't lie, as they say. So it'd be great to really have the numbers up and running, so we can kind of get into the nitty-gritty of what this is all about. Dave, I know you are a numbers guy, so and that's going to be very, very helpful. At least you can be able to always look at numbers and make your deductions that right on the money. Yeah. So if you can help us here, based on what you have, you understand so far about the electoral map. I know you've been poring over these numbers before because you've been sending me a lot of this data stuff.
Yeah.
And so if you can help us based on what you have seen so far in this data, what are the key sort of lessons that we can learn from this data? What caught your eye? What would you really want to highlight as far as these numbers are concerned?
I think is that what actually which like pops up at you, right away is like the disparity. Like for example, how the boundaries are set up, how they are demarcated. For example, if you take Makati for as an example, 2,000 registered voters, they have an MP in parliament. Then you got places like Banjul, they got like let's say 38,000 registered voters, they got 3 MPs. So then you got places like Serekunda, 150,000 registered voters. Now this is numbers are going back 2016, by the way. That's when the what's it called? The Commonwealth Secretariat sent a delegation, if you want to call it that, headed by General Abdul Babas Abdul Ozikul, the Nigerian General Abdul Karim Baba Salam or something. I can't remember his name, but some Muslim guy. I'll get his name in a minute. So yeah, they did that research there, and then obviously they made recommendations whereby to say that there needs to be proportional representation. When we say proportional representation, we mean by the amount, the relative size of the constituency, the relative size of the area. I need to reflect who represent them in parliament and how many people represent them in parliament. So, for example, like the disparity, you can say is so evident. Like, for example, we look at Banjul with 3 MPs, and even compare that to, let's say, Jajambure, and then you compare that to Serekunda. So now, if you compare that to Kombo, then you just wouldn't believe it. But actually, what actually concerned me recently is just this election 2020, whereby right now we're complaining that the demarcation isn't right. I mean, the purpose is not very correct. So, but because we right now Kombo has been divided into 3 constituencies, like Sani Mentoring, and then with Yundum, and then Busumbala. But then they're thinking 2020 bill that actually they're gonna be combined together again. So Kombo with 120,000 registered voters, going back about how many years? 12 years now. 2006, 14 years now. So exponentially the population has increased. No doubt about it. So if we was 150, 130 in 18 years ago, 12 years ago, even 10 years ago, you can be certain that it's increased about 25% fold, 25% at least. So how can you redemarcate these boundaries to say now, okay, even though you got so many people, we think you only deserve 1 MP in parliament. So I mean, this is political horse trading. And I think this is what we need to understand as Kombunkers, that so what is at stake is very, very serious for us. So we need to make sure that we are at the high table when the issues of the Gambia are debated, and when the issues of the Gambians are discussed, and when we find a way how we can resolve our problem in the Gambia. So it cannot be such a consequential part of the country as Kombo not. But then you don't have that representation in parliament. So when the nation's people, political leaders are sitting down, they have to debate. I mean, make no mistake about it. Development funds, this is the way they divide it. So if you are not that table, you're not that high table, nobody's speaking for you. So, for example, if we have 3 MPs, let's say for Kombo, I mean, we think we should have 8 at the very least, not 1. But we got 3 currently from the last election. We think it should be 8. But if we got 1 there or 3, and then compare that to Banjul got 3, but then we got 3 times the population of the registered voters. It's just not democratically fair. But then again, this is all about development. We need to understand this. This is political power, it's economic power, it's political influence. So it's all about voting in parliament. So when it comes to the interests of Kombo, we're going to be outnumbered. So we have to be relying on other members of parliament from other places to actually feel, okay, we feel your pain. We think what you're fighting for is genuine. We're going to vote for you. But can we rely on that? There's always political horse trading, obviously. But if you don't have the numbers, if you don't have the numbers, then you have a major problem. So I mean, it's very, very unfair. I mean, like I said, the Commonwealth sent a delegation. They did all their research, and they recommended. They made recommendations, but Jambe didn't implement that. The IEC didn't implement it. So I think we had this discussion here previously with Dr. Conte and Ahmed Manyang. We thought it was about time we actually go to court about this to say Kombo need to be fairly represented in parliament, because it's not right now. So, but we were thinking of that. We didn't even realize there's going to be actually a disaster coming. We didn't see 2020 bill, which says that actually the whole of Kombo is going to be combined together. You're going to have only one MP with 160,000 registered voters or so. I mean, how does this work? So we're talking about the unfairness of having three MPs in parliament. Now you're telling me actually you're only going to have one. I mean, we don't want to jump ahead of ourselves here. It's just a bill. It's not a law yet. But this is the time you fight. So, but how do we fight this? We go to court to fight against the three that we got currently anyway. I think that's going to be the starting point for us. So the 2020 bill, that has to go. That's definitely going to be thrown to the wayside, to the curb, like you guys do in America. It's just not applicable to us. It's not acceptable. And then I know when we say this, sometimes people think, oh, Kombunkers are becoming very, I don't know, even angry. I think it's rather we have conversations and debates and even heated discussions that we have the alternatives.
Yeah.
Really. So, I mean, I think, I don't know if it's, they alluded to Churchill or Eisenhower, I don't know who say Jojo is always better than war. So it's better we have conversations, we have disagreement, and we solve our problem. But for Kombo to take his rightful place in Gambia's polity, I think it's about time. For a very, very long time, we've been at the back end. We put ourselves at the back end, really, we did. So I think it's about time. It doesn't mean that we have ambitions to be politicians. We don't. You have to be eloquent, number one, to be a politician, which I'm not. But I come to a stage whereby I think we need to speak up. We need to become social commentators, and we need to force the Gambians to actually address the grievances that Kombunkers are actually talking about, because they're very real and they're very genuine. And I think Gambians need to face that. I mean, if it comes to our environment, our land, our culture, yes. But if it even comes to representing us in parliament, we got the numbers, but you're not even allowing us to be properly represented in parliament. What have you got against us? So as you said, it's gerrymandering. So it's nothing personal. It's all about politics. So that's why we also need to be wise. We also need to play the political game to say we are here. We are not going to be sidelined. We are going to be at this high table. So you need to be ready for us. We come in peace, but we are coming for what is our due. So I think the Gambian political parties and the powers who be really need to wake up now and sit up and understand that what these people are asking for is a right and just, and they need to be addressed. So that's what we hear. That. Thank you.
I totally agree with you. I think that one of the main issues that I have seen, and this is the continuation of of what has been for a long time, is a lack of recognition of the numbers in this whole deal. Because at the end of the day, anywhere in the world you go, the districting, redistricting, electoral maps, and everything is all about numbers, and because it determines literally everything. Distribution of resources. I mean, what has happened to Kombo, as you all know, is that this rural-urban migration has put a lot of stress on Kombo's resources, whether it's land resources, whether it's the fish resources, whether it's education resources, whether it's healthcare resources. I can go through the whole 9 yards. You get the point. In other words, you have more people utilizing those few resources than the resources can handle. So what that is doing is that it has really put the area in a very, very precarious situation, where people who live there, whether they are originally from there or just arrived there, it doesn't even matter. It just simply means everybody who lives in this territory is literally going to be very uncomfortable as far as acquisition of resources, because it's just very, very limited amount of these resources for too many people to handle. So therefore, government needs to recognize first the numbers and say, hey, the numbers for this area are way up there, more than anywhere else. So let's recognize it for what it is. So make sure they have more representation, make sure they have more resources applied to them. That is for financial resources and stuff. Make sure that they have more healthcare facilities. Make sure they have more schools. Make sure they have more of everything that the country needs, because the population is what is there that has to be supported by those things. But instead, the areas where those things can, the allocation of those resources can be fought and won, and also make sure the attention is focused. If you take those areas away, which is, for instance, the representation in parliament, then simply you are just ignoring the numbers and not paying any attention to it and pretending it doesn't even exist. Well, that's not even good for the country in of itself, because government policy is going to be misapplied, misappropriated, misused. All the malice that you can talk about. This is how it comes about. It comes about because of lack of recognition of the reality of the situation. And the reality here is that Kombo has the numbers. Kombo is the most populated area in this place. And so that number has to be recognized and treated as such for the sake of the area and for the sake of the country too. Because otherwise you will take resources away from a place that has 200,000 people, 300,000, 400,000, 500,000, and taking it to a place that has only 30,000 people. For something that really, these ones need more than the other. But all the political considerations that come into these things is what bothers me the most, because the numbers are not recognized. But Dr. Conte, if you can please quickly get into the nitty-gritty of the numbers themselves and really show us what we are, to more or less confirm what we are talking about actually by using the numbers, because they say, like I said, numbers don't lie. Hopefully that will exhibit, if you will, what really this is all about.
Okay, thank you. I just want to say here, that UDP has more to lose here than gain. And so which means that we may disagree politically, but I think we all need to work with UDP to ensure that this law doesn't become permanent. I am also of the view, that representation shouldn't be based on the total number of registered voters, but based on the total number of people living in the constituency. So you cannot just tell me that you can't tell me that just because you are of age to vote, you have more right than someone who is not of age to vote. So I'm dumbfounded, because the last census that we had in the Gambia was in 2013. So if we go on a base our representation, it should be on the next census, which is going to be 2023. But for the interest of time, I just want to, I'm dumbfounded. I don't know. I thought when Manjan called me and told me this, I thought he was joking, because we had already talked about this, and you indicated that Janjambure only has actually 1,980 registered voters, 1980. So I don't understand how that area can be a constituency, because when the late Fakeba Nyamali was member of parliament of Sami constituency, Janjambure was part of the Sami constituency. But again, our brothers and sisters who are in Fonya, we have to work with them. Because this is something, is going to affect us. And you are right. If we don't have equal representation, proportional representation, our power or our right in parliament is going to be minimized. So if we say Kombo, we also have to look at KMC. So are they going to go back to the original representation in KMC? Because if they're going to tell Kombo North to have only one constituency, then I believe there won't be any Sarakunda West. There won't be any Joswang. There won't be any Latakunda Sabeji. So let's just go back here, because this is I wanna start with Banjul. And for your information, with the Port Authority extending the port area, Banjul South population is decreasing. Banjul South population is totally decreasing. I think it has only 6,000 registered voters. And by the way, Banjul's total population is even less than 32,000 as of 2013 census. So Banjul, when we were all going to school, Banjul had a population of 45,000. But now it has about 31,000. So this is something that I think we all need to come together, regardless of our political beliefs, Yeah, yesterday we were all arguing, disagreeing with each other, but this affects all of us.
Mm.
So I don't get this. So SANA mentoring with a population of registered voters of 123, 124, 130 people, are you telling me that Banjul itself can go to SANA mentoring 3 times and you still have change? No, let's say 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
SANA mentoring, Banjul can go into SANA mentoring 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
But Banjul South only has 6,258 registered voters. Banjul Central, 9,371. Banjul North, 7,102. And mark you, most of the people who are registered here, they live in the Kombos.
Mm.
If you go to Brusabe, if you go to SALAGI, if you go down to Bruford Heights, I bet 20 to 30% of the people, because even the elected officials, none of them live in Banjul. They all live in Kombo.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so but the question here is this fair representation? No, it's not. If that's what they're going to have. I don't know what is going on with this government. Sometimes it seems like I want to work with them, but sometimes they baffle me to a point where I say, no, when it comes to the interest of Kombo, I have to speak up. Mm-hmm. Because if we can say something about the other gentleman, Mr. Tal, who came here, and we were very vocal about him, and Dr. Caesar, who came here, the same thing, then I think by right, because our people don't have any power to stand up. Yes, I do support Dave. I will be joining. Mm-hmm. Any one of you willing to do a citizens lawsuit in court? We will sue the government of the Gambia, even the president, that no, this cannot go. Because if we, come on, for far too long, since 1962, we've been taken advantage of. We cried to say that under Sadada's government, we never had a minister of lands. Do you think if someone from Kombo Sana mentoring was minister of local government and lands, you tell me, will they be taking your land from you?
Of course not.
No, they will not. So you notice that Banjul, with a total registered voters of 22,731, has 3 representatives. So then if we're going to do proportional representation, then my God, Sana mentoring should have at least 6, if you look at it. Mm-hmm. So it is high time. But you see, one problem we have in the Gambia, and this has been going on, and I'm happy someone told me what the people of Bruford did when the Minister of Tourism called them, tried to trick them by telling them that the president wants to build something, and then they can give part of the land to them, and they refuse. I said, next time when they call you to come and talk to them, say, no, you come and talk to us. Yeah. It's about time that our people stand up to do this. And can I also tell you one thing? Mm-hmm. Do you know a whole administrative area, Masakonko? Mm-hmm. Do you know Masakonko can go into Sana mentoring 3 times? You don't know that? No, I mean, we should not sit idle and accept such a thing to happen, because what's going to happen is it's going to affect us, it's going to affect our children, and it's going to affect our children's children. We have to stand up and sue the government. Anyone, even the Attorney General, even though he's from Kombo, this is no exception. But let me just tell you this. Mm-hmm. Jara West has 14,941. Now, I want you to take the population of Sana mentoring and divide it by 14,941. You tell me, is this fair? Mm-hmm. We have the data to argue. Yeah. No one can tell me it's the size. Mm-hmm. Because if it is the size, Makati can go into Bruford maybe 2-3 times. Yeah. Makati can actually go into Sukuta 2-3 times. Mm-hmm. Jara East. Jara East. Remember, it used to be Jara East, Jara West. They never had a central, but Jara East has 8,609. I want you to take that total number of registered voters. I want you to divide that by the JARA is registered voters, and you tell me, is this fair representation? We have a case to fight for.
Yeah.
Look at JARA Central. No, this is crazy. This is not fair.
Mm-hmm.
JARA Central has only 4,820. Mm-hmm. They have their own constituency. So which means that in Brufut alone, you may even have how many MPs if we go by this standard?
Yeah, 4.
4, right?
Yeah.
Okay, look at Kian West. So this is the time, let's forget about our political differences, my friend.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Whether you are UDP, whether you are NPP, whether you are independent, whether you are APRC, they are talking about trying to stop the power of UDP in representation. And folks, we should begin to engage the people in UDP and tell them, listen, yesterday, we spoke evil of each other or ill of each other, but today they are affecting our rights and privileges, and we have to stand up. Kian West. Kian West has 10,343. And I know Brufut is close to 30,000, right? Maybe even 40,000 registered voters.
40, I think, yeah.
So which means that, when it comes to Kian West, you should have 3 constituencies. Kian East, 4,483 registered voters. Now go out there, and this is the time we should also try to do it. Let's try to count our people. Mm-hmm. Because we cannot sit down and wait for the government to go and do their census in 2023. Mm-hmm. But the problem with our people here is that the Alcalo is not going to join this fight because the Alcalo may be scared. I'm sorry if I step on somebody's parents' toes or something. But what has been happening in Saudada's time is still the same. That when they appoint you as Alcalo, you cannot go against the government because if you speak against the government, they're going to relieve you of your duties, as the chief. Kian Central. Kian Central, 6,092 registered voters. Mm-hmm. Now, our brothers and sisters who are in the same administrative area with us, so if they're going to change our representation, how come they cannot say we are going to change representation in Fonyi? It is very difficult to take away something that you gave to someone. Mm. So Fonyi Jarol has 3,926 registered voters. Can you believe that?
Wow.
Let's go to Fonyi Barafet. Fonyi Barafet has 8,453 registered voters. They have their own representation. We have the data to argue in court and sensitize our people in Kombo. Mm-hmm. That, well, you tell them, your sons and daughters, they don't want them to be MPs anymore. So if Sada Mentoring is going to have one representation, Brikama also is going to have one representation. Guess what they are doing? They are cutting into UDP's base. And it's time for us to engage UDP folks and say we need to join together irrespective of our political differences. Fonyi Bintang. Fonyi Bintang has 9,073 registered voters. Think about where you are from. How many people are registered in your hometown? And you tell me whether this is fair representation. Fonyi Bondali. Fonyi Bondali has 4,104 registered voters. Fonyi Councillor has 8,245 registered voters. Before I stop for a moment, I want to go down and just give you, because what really intrigues me is the Janjambure representation, they call Kuntao, where for the life of me, I don't get it. So are we going to sit down and accept this? Because when I was going to school, Salem used to have only one constituency. So Salem has been divided into 2. Less than the total number of registered voters in Kombo is where I come from. Nyani. Nyani has 13,593. But Nyanija has only 4,974 registered voters. Is this fair? I let you be the judge. Lower Salem, 9,253. That's why there are people are able to get jobs. That's why there are people are able to go to universities, get scholarships. That's why there are people are able to buy property in the Kombos, because they control the mechanism. And it's high time we stood up and said no. And if you come from somewhere else, you live in Kombo, you are a Kombonka. If you're a child, if you have children who are born in Kombo, they are Kombonkas. Therefore, we have to join together. Let's forget about this Luntao thing. This affects all of us. Look at Upper Salem. Upper Salem has 11,042 registered voters. Sami constituency, 11,641. Do you know that Sanementere has almost 3 times the number of registered voters than the whole administrative area of Kuntao? My friend, we have a case. If the former Vice President Bakari Bunja Dabo could go and file a lawsuit against the government, and if Asamba Jau could do that, Senghor or Johnson could do that, I think it's high time we get off our lazy selves and get up and fight this. Let's sue them in court. Because sometimes when you don't speak, people are going to take advantage of you. You all talked about the Janjambure thing. That one is very troubling, because I will never forget the total number of registered voters in Janjambure Makati. 1,980. So don't come on go. For everybody Sarakundala bang, for everybody Burufula bang, for everybody Sukuta, for everybody Kavalomba. In sa Foyko, Barola Masakundala Samin Kela Kombo Koli, Yena Bankol Tambulu, Yena Farolta, na Kunkoli Ebe Tambulu. Sa en ko dibite ya atla tol lafta pural dingole ke dibitelti nyema sakunda ko atolla Sanementere constituency mi alon ko wili jalu wili keme aning 23,000 registered voters wolle be Sanementere iko Kombo North Bay, ye beke deputy clean damati. Paro kam fa watal de. Alim fananga wuli. Febe UDP leba. Febe APRC leba. Febe NPP leba. Febe DOI. Febe CL. Febe independent. Alim be nga nanga kafunyo ka nga nyobulo muta. Nga fo ka masibo min sabana Kombo Nkolo ka nga fo komba wule kenta kela. Kade nya kule ko ikafonto la odla masakunda banko le geolofo so don sila ngo na kebale wolta ni na de kombe nyin kule kela ni ebe agree wala yena kenol be tambul sa de jama Kombo ni dun daje samene bije hani na ko mimo na ko alma soto alman farol soto kunkuti je musu keba mi yalanka akeba ayata ito ko wayetama kilometer lulu kata kankan ha jana ufraje masibo be kala de son sa min faale wala ñi de Kombo ko ñi manke fatam fansor ñi be min kala wala ngam fan na fa ngam fan kanu alin kala son politiko yen tala kare baroma sakunda la ko de kala bi wala ñi de ko alin nga fam ba wulen ken takela ndu lafta alin nga kafunyo kan nga da niyeta kitiela nga foy ko ndolla dula mi alongo ndolla Kombo banko be mi alongo jundula fon staye signat e kontolu Sanementere mi alongo ni ala namo fon jibe fa ngo this in fact what can the kamfande ni dunte be bon nam banyun wonde be bon nam bako dunda ibe dunda Sanementere ko o hotelol min bebi je e ko na won min be collect ni dunda burfude ka kumbole fan tafnata ayalu kuntu he nko Wala nandako politiko you have to be emotional. Because ni mo kabe kajafila. Mo ka jututela. Mo la ila ala danyu no ikebo tara la bulu. Adingol fona aliye katsamba karambo da ko e karang. For instance, dingol so mi yalan ko it's a law parliament deputy bunkono. Yelo e kacha ye diamu. Ha nyama za kundako hani ibal talala le. So nabo nyama ntenga mira wala nyinde ko alentole be nga kafu nyoka nyimanke si fadam fansu kuti. Nyimo kolte ko mi yalan ko ayembela affect nduna embe affect alinga nanga bulol kafu nyokan. Hana rebe political party or political party sa alinga nyina wala. Nyunko alinga kelendo nunga kelembe winnale. Kadu barobal na ko next election. Kadu mi ende jahar wala nyinde ko. So middle parliament bidum fab abe parliament aba suspend ba ana another election ke ha UDP mole mbalda na de kunu manga kankalindi de bar bi nyen Kombo ko alimbe ga kafu nyokan nga nyimma sakunda kele nyina nga fo ko mbawulen ka takela. Let me stop right there, please.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Kante. I like the passion. Yes, I mean, if you think about it, I don't even look at this as a party political issue. I think it's just because I mean, if it's anything, it just shows how our people back home there, we don't have enough civic what's it called, civic society groups, really civic organization groups, where people are not civically empowered, because otherwise things like this would have been taken up by any of those NGOs in the Gambia. So it doesn't even have to be a Kombonka. Just there should be some civic organizations in the Gambia, we should look at this and think, oh, this is not right. We should actually challenge this in court. Yeah. So yeah, the party politics shouldn't even come into it, like he said. But it's come to a situation whereby, like I said, the bill 2020. I mean, it's a bill. It's not a law yet. Obviously, they have to go to parliament. They have to discuss it, and then they have to vote on it. There is a chance it wouldn't go through. But for me, that's actually beside the point. We have a legitimate case to go to court before that anyway, because we don't think equal representation, proportional representation is actually happening for Kombo right now. Okay, and like you keep on saying, I want to emphasize this. When you say Kombo, you don't mean people who can say, oh, my roots been here for 10 generations. No, we don't mean even people who moved to Kombo last week. If you're in Kombo, what affects Kombo socio-politically, socio-economics affects you. Whether your generation, you've been there 10, 15 generation, or you just arrived there yesterday, it doesn't even matter. So that's what it comes down to. So this is an issue for whole of Gambia to combine their resources and their thinking to say, this is not right. There's so many things happening in Gambia because nobody challenges them. I think that's what's been happening for a very long time. You have a very few in our community who will challenge. They're happy to challenge the government. And then normally, the government will know that they're wrong and they correct themselves. But these things go on for so long because nobody challenges them. And lots of our people will complain and talk, but they don't. When it comes down to actually doing what is needed, is no action. So that's the culture we want to change. Because we don't want like civic, what's it called? How do you want to call it? We don't want civil strife in the country. So what do? We have the court system. They might be skewed against people who are not connected, but that's not the point. The point is to go through them and test the case and test the judiciary and test how what's it called? Are they even fit for purpose? So this is all very important. But yes, politics, if we can we can go with political parties, fine. But it doesn't even need a political party. It needs one individual. You have a constitutional right as a Gambian citizen, whether you live there or live abroad, to go to court, just like other people do this all the time. So we also need to exercise this right as Gambians, given to us by the virtue of a citizenship, to take them to court that this is not right. So the judges should have to discuss that. And then this is also a court of public opinion. It's very important that some of the discussions we have here, for me, fundamentally, it's like to try to get Gambians to actually sit back and question themselves. Why do we always accept the unacceptable? Why do we tolerate the intolerable? Why do we let things to go on so long they become the norm when they are abnormal? So it just comes to that time with Gambians who always ask themselves very, very serious and fundamental questions. So this is what this comes down to. So whether we come together as a group, whether we go together as individuals, or whether we go and get like communities, something needs to be done. That's the important thing. Something needs to be done. So we need to engage lawyers. Like I said, the 2020 bill, we don't even need to worry about that. We got a legitimate case we need to deal with right now. We discussed that here a few months back. So, but like I said, I didn't know that whilst we were talking about what's happening currently is not fair, and we are outraged about it, we didn't even know what was coming. So when I saw this 2021 20 bill, I'm like, what? You're gonna combine the three constituencies in Kombo into one? You got nearly, I mean, if it's the figures you're giving is going back at least 10 years or so, I think, or 7 years at least. So Kombo, the population is expanding exponentially. It's the only place is the place most people move to. So that's what it is. I mean, you got this urban rural migration. Everybody is the magnet. Combo is the magnet. So it doesn't. It's not right. It's not right morally. It's not right politically. So that's why I think we need to fight it, and I think it's a just cause. Like so many things that happen in Combo, they are just causes, and we would like Gambians to come and join us in this fight to say this is not right. We need to correct this. It doesn't always have to be that we even have to go to the court, legal court. We just want, like I said, court of public opinion. Sometimes that is more than enough, really, Dr. Conde. Thank you.
Okay.
I think my dad bankers have a lot of issues with network connection, so
Okay.
he's just dropped out again. Yeah, but just go ahead, please.
So Dave, let me just tell you that. You remember when we first came, the first time we met, the chemistry wasn't there. I just want to be frank.
Okay.
But today, I don't even mind to shake Usain Dabo's hand.
Okay.
I don't mind to call UDP. Actually, I'm going to try from my end to see whether I can have a Zoom conference with some of the UDP MPs, because this affects them. But, you know, going back to history, this is something that we... So let me ask you this. How about KMC? Are they going to combine? Are they going to combine KMC? Dave, I'm asking a question.
No, not that I'm aware. No.
No, you are joking.
No, seriously.
So are you saying that they want to combine Sanimentary into one constituency, but they're going to leave the newly divided constituencies of Serakunda West, Bununga Kunda, and Latakunda Sabiji, they're going to leave them intact?
I'll have to check that again, but I don't think there's any changes there. But don't quote me on it. Obviously, I can read into it again.
And is it true also that they're going to try to combine Brikama North and Brikama South?
I think so as well. That's what I've been so concentrated on, this Kombo North issue. I just read that. I'm like, how can you do sedimentary and then what's it called, all you do on Busumbalan and combine them back to Kombo North? I mean, just look at the size, the vast size and population-wise. Like you said, it's not only about people who are registered to vote. I mean, you have to think about population. There's a proportionality here, obviously. The more registered voters you normally have, obviously, that means you have a bigger size in population. So I think that's also there. So yeah, definitely, I think we need to look into this more. Like I said, but my concentration was on Kombo. You can call it selfish. Because when it comes to land and environment, I've been so engaged in these Kombo issues for so long. That's where my concentration was on Kombo, what's it called, coastal Kombo, like you call it. So my mind was just, my focus was on that. Why is this happening? Why are we going to be doing this? Why do we have to amalgate what's it called, Kombo North? What we had, we've already been divided into three constituencies. Why do we have to put them together again as one when the population size is increased? So that's proportional to how many registered voters we have. Does it make any sense? But of course, it makes political sense for somebody who probably think that, if he can win, if he can, or if the other parties can lose in Kombo, it's better for him. So it's always political calculation. But of course, I have a political party, I support Doi. But when it comes to Kombo's issues, I don't care about politics. I think what we need to do right now is to actually challenge this. I mean, like I said, we have to mount a legal challenge, but also we have to try and convince other Gambians to actually look at what is happening and just to sit back and think themselves, is this right? How can we correct this? I think that's very important. So my focus is always on that. Obviously, the legal route, we have to take that. We have to speak to lawyers. And then lawyers obviously will look into the legality of it, and they will tell us if they think we have a case or not. I think we should have a case, but I'm not legally trained. But common sense dictates to me that obviously there is a legal case here. So I think we should definitely seriously look into it. I've spoken to lots of people about it already over the weekend, and then they, just like me, they are very enraged and they're very, very happy for us to look into the avenue of seeking legal recourse. Thank you.
Okay, so let's go back, because I'm kind of so Gambia's representation, is it based on the size of a constituency or based on the number of people in the constituency?
Well, if we go to the when the I've got this here, when they had the Commonwealth Observer Group came to the Gambia, I was actually, I remember the name now. It was General Abdul Salam Abubakar. They made recommendations, and they actually made recommendations whereby the boundaries need to be demarcated based on the population size as well. But that didn't happen. They even gave some quotes like how many people live in Banjul compared to how many MPs they have. So it's been there during Jammeh's time. It was never implemented. So, but what makes it so outrageous now is to actually we're going backwards, even worse than Jammeh, if you know what I mean. So I think that's what makes it even more outrageous. That's what I think is worth challenging. It's worth challenging in court. Well, anyway, to see Ibrahim Ajana said, Dave, let Kombunkers coalesce and, if necessary, engage in civil disorder as an option to fight for legitimate causes. Yes, I think, yeah, you're very right. I can understand why people feel that way. But I think we can do, like I said, most things we have to do in Kombo. They're all multi-pronged. We have to try multi-pronged approaches. So obviously agitation is all right, but we also, we have to go through the court system, through the legal system. Yeah, but even just raising our voice is enough, because for a very long time our people have been very silent. So that's why we want to move away from this culture of being silent and being timid and meek. You know, it's nothing to be meek about or timid about. Actually, what we're fighting for is actually for the benefit of the Gambia anyway, because we're asking the Gambian government and the powers that be to actually treat our people and govern them right and justly. So that is a Gambian cause. That's a national cause. That's not a Kombo cause. And when it comes to the land and environment, we also complain about. We always try to make people remember and remind them that it might be us today, but tomorrow we can be somewhere else. So we are pioneers in that sense. We are like we're raising our head above the parapet. To people to see us out, screaming and making noise, but we're actually doing it for the common good of the Gambia. So I think that that's a way to go. But yeah, if it comes down to it, we should never shy away from civil disobedience, especially when it comes to our natural resources or inheritance. I've been a very vocal advocate for that, and I always mention this to people. I'm very convinced, and I'm very strongly convinced about it, that for us, like all publicity is good publicity for us. It's very, very important we understand this, and we put at the back of our minds that all publicity, good publicity for us, because we are trying to bring our issues to the forefront of a national debate. So there can be nothing wrong with that. So whether it's me speaking online with other people, Dr. Conte, Mr. Manjang, and my dad Banka, or somebody going to SALAGI and demonstrating and actually trying to force the security forces back from their land, we are all in this together. It's all part of this multi-pronged approach. Our issues in Kombo need to be at the forefront of our national debate. So whatever method we choose, as long as it's legitimate, it's legal, we should go away. We should never shy away from it. It has to be legal. It doesn't have to put anybody's life at risk and their liberty and their property at risk, but anything else goes. Really, we should go for that, Mr. Jani. Thank you.
You know, I want to comment on Mr. Jani.
Jani, yeah.
Is it Jani or Jani, Ibrahim?
Jani.
Okay, Jani. I really do believe that we need to do that. But right now, I think instead of creating civil disobedience, I think what we need to do is actually engage our people. Because I think if we engage even UDP and just tell them, you have more to lose here. Because you have 3 UDP MPs. So if they go to Brikama, guess what's going to happen again? You're going to lose another one. So they're going to lose 3 MPs. So this is something, you're right. If we sit quiet and don't do anything, they're going to think that we accept the status quo. But if we speak, because I was just wondering, okay, if you go to New Primate, at the very last end, by Gambia High School, by the entrance, coming from Boxbar, if you want to walk from there, do you know that you can reach the end of Kombo North in less than 5 minutes walking?
No.
Yes, you can. You can walk from New Primate all the way to the junction. I believe is that Imam Job or So Avenue or something. It goes through the police yard, right? You can walk there less than 5-10 minutes. You are out of a constituency. And if you walk again, trust me, going through Primate, going all the way down to Allen Street, you are out of Banjul Central. And people used to walk all the way from there all the way to PWD. And they have 3 constituencies. So if they're not going to complain, but if we sit down and accept the status quo, they're going to think we are okay. But I think this is communal effort that we can engage our youths to bring this information to our people. But I'm telling you, I know that you're going to do it because I heard when you heard about it, you were very upset.
Mm.
And I know that anytime you are ready for us to file a lawsuit, let's find a lawyer to do this. And listen, let's find somebody from Kombo. I'm not going to name names, but we can find somebody who can represent us. Someone has to stand up. Keba emim for alkalo ko akunga Kombo karafalma. This guy said this to me in 2018, and he's still alive, but I'm not going to reveal his name.
Mm.
So I don't think we should even try to engage other civil organizations that are in the Gambia, because you know what is happening in the Gambia now. Okay, the status quo, if you speak against the status quo, guess what's going to happen? Any potential job that you're going to have, you won't get it. And if you get a job, chances are that they may try to find a way to get rid of you. So for us who are here in diaspora, I think we have the ample time, the resources to help our people. This is cry for help. And if we stand up to do it, so we don't even have any major hospital in Kombo. If one sits down, because I was looking at the land tenure research that Ami Bensouda and Law Farm did. I did not know that they have all these compounds in Bruford Heights. I did not know that they have all these houses in Bruceby. And I was wondering, I said, how about all these hotels that are in San Mentoring? Even if you say 10% of the tax revenue, and these are things that we should advocate, man. We say, yeah, West Coast region, you are getting chunk of the tax from San Mentoring. But then what we don't understand here is at least 10% of that should go back to the community to develop, even if you're going to do road building. And I'm fascinated by this size of land that you all currently have, the Strasserfield. And that is a treasure that no one should even give up to. I don't care even if they promise you heaven. Please don't give it away. But again, Mr. Dave, like I said, when we first started here, the chemistry wasn't there. But as we begin to talk about the issues of Kombo and how it affects me, because in fact, talking about Bruford, now I see why there is connection. I can go back when I briefly stayed in Bakau. There used to be this old man, Panjai. He used to be a PW driver. Do you know after he dropped the people at PWD, he would come back and he would pick the people all the way from Bruford to Bakau in his PW truck. So we were all together as students going to Banjul. But little did I know that we would be sitting down here to talk about equal representation. Because if we cannot talk about equal representation, what is the purpose for us in the Kombo? Because every single time you turn around, there is a land dispute anyway, everywhere. And our people are the ones who are marginalized. Yes, we will speak with emotions, because when somebody takes the little that you have, when someone ignores your right to existence, because if they take this away from us, they are telling us that we Kombonkers, or we the residents. In fact, this is not about Kombo. It's about the chieftaincy, or the area of Kombo North that was divided into 3 constituencies. And in fact, I felt that it should actually be, there should be additional representation in that area. And we don't care whoever represents my tribe. In fact, I don't even think when we are doing census, they should even ask us, what tribe are you? Count the total number of people in each compound, and we go on. But again, we as Kombonkers, we as people, because Sana mentoring is ill served. Because if you, let me tell you one thing, that really, when I went to Gambia, I was very, very upset. I stayed in Sukuta. There was a guy who was building. Do you know he blocked the road? He even put a temporary storage place in the middle of the road. So I asked a gentleman who I was renting from, I said, have you called Brikama Area Council to come here to get this guy from here? Because I said, just in case you have emergency, how can you have somebody pass through there? But he built something in the middle of the road. So if you go through Sukuta, you notice that the roads are not even cleaned at night. And then the road, I think this road from Sukuta by the water tower, somebody told me that it feeds all the way through Brufut. And anytime it rains, guess what? The water goes through there and people cannot drive through. So these are things that we need to bring to the attention of our politicians, regardless of what political party they belong to. I think we should come together as one to discuss about issues that affect all of us. Because I'm telling you, if you are a young man or a young woman who is dreaming of being in parliament, today, Barrow administration has taken that right away from you. In my end here, I am going to talk to a person that I normally frequently write to by asking this individual what the heck is going on, because this is not fair representation at all. We don't have the schools. We don't have the hospitals. The roads are congested. Someone told me that from the turntable all the way even to the Sukuta traffic light, or even by the airport, it takes somebody 2 hours. That's insanity. You see, the fault lies with the Sadada government, and we have to talk about it, because the Trans-Gambia Highway actually had the old Trans-Gambia Highway. For your information, we had 2 for the coastal area and for us who are in the other side of the bank. So the road would go all the way, it went all the way from Bakau, going all the way through Brufut, going all the way to Sukuta, to Sukuta, and then to Gunjur. And that way will go all the way down to the other side of Marakisa and so forth, and it will end somewhere in Jiboro all the way to Kafuta. And for us, on the other side, that road used to be all the way from Tabokoto or Wellingara area. That road went all the way behind Lameng. It went all the way down behind Mandinaring, Bafloto, and so forth, all the way down again to Pirang, Faraba, and then it went all the way on the other side of Madina Sotokoi. But guess what? When they built the new road, they neglected the most important navigable road that our people were using to go to Basse. So our people only concentrated only on the main highway, and now all those areas, the roads are dilapidated, so we cannot even transport. So Gambia, in a sense, we don't even look at the contingency planning to say that just in case something happens in Kombo, where are we going to be going to? Someone told me even, so this is total neglect of Kombo. Someone told me that if you are somewhere in Mandinaring, you can see Banjul at night. You can see the lights in Banjul. So you think about building a bridge from there all the way to Banjul. But guess what happened? Under Saudati's government, guess what they did? They dumped a lot of broken down cars in the water there. So it's going to be totally impossible for you to build a bridge. But again, people of Kombo, residents of Kombo, we are appealing to you to say that we don't care what political party you belong to. We don't care about your political orientation. We are talking about equal representation. If you don't have any interest in running for public office, that's okay. But you don't know whether your child is going to be interested. You don't know whether your neighbor is going to be interested. You don't even know whether your friend's child is going to be interested. Boy, girl, any of them. So now what they are doing is, can you believe this is outrageous? So wait a minute. Let me go back to here. Are you telling me that even the airport, that is part of Sanamentary, is it not? Oh my God, I even forgot to talk about the tax revenue. That airport, because what I looked at, today I was looking at Brussels Airlines. For your information, do you know that Brussels Airlines had about 66,000 passengers coming into the Gambia for 1 year? You think about the tax revenue the people paid, and what portion of that tax revenue went to Sanamentary? No, this is totally unacceptable. I'm willing to reach out to anyone that I fought against yesterday, months ago, years ago, to say that we have a problem at hand, and we should I want to reach out and shake your hand and say, listen, what these people are doing to us is totally unacceptable. This is one area we cannot disagree. This is one area we as Kombunkers should come and fight for our rights. There is a gentleman out here. Let me just give chance to this gentleman. I don't know, Dave, whether you see, because I don't want to take over the conversation. We have these young people, and we need to empower these young people, because we have talked, Dave, you and I, we've talked since Gambia L. And I think we should now give chance to these young people to lead us, because maybe they can get us out of the nightmare that we are in.
Thank you. We got my friend Ibrahim. He's the same age as me. We went to school together. He just wasn't on Gambia L and Gambia Post. But Ibrahim Asawani, thank you. He just come to join us. I mean, Ibrahim was here before anyway. I'm sure you remember one time he was here. I think he's joined us more than once or twice, actually. He has. So yes, Sawani, welcome.
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry I'm a bit late to join you, but you know, I'm always glad to join you people, and you know, a wonderful conversation about how we can improve the lives of our people in Kombo and Gambia. As a whole. Is Mr. Conte is making some very, very important points there about fair political representation, because this is one thing that is lacking in Kombo. If you look at the numbers, as they say, numbers don't lie, and Mr. Conte himself has brought some statistics. The last time I was here with him, I think, I mean, he gave us some very, very important statistics about how underrepresented people of Kombo are in the Gambian political sphere. So, and we are aware at the moment there is a consultation going on, and they want to pass a bill to make this number even smaller. In fact, to silence us even further. This is unfair. It's unacceptable. It's about justice. I mean, every justice-loving person in the Gambia should stand up and help us. You know, not only reverse what has happened, but also try and block this new law, block it first of all, and also reverse what is already in place.
Yeah.
I will go back to Mr. Conte's numbers. You know, he's presented this here before, and courtesy of himself, you know, I'll give him credit. Brikama area council population is over 500,000. So that's over a quarter of the Gambia's whole population. So if you look at that, the size of the number, democracy is about numbers, you know. So that means, you know, we have more pressing issues. We have more people to look after. We need more amenities. We need more schools. We need more roads. We need more amenities than most of the country because we are densely populated. And if you have people packed together that much with less amenities, you're gonna cause stress, and that stress will lead to fractures. It leads to social disorders, and you know, we see it in a lot of big cities around the world. You know, these things can lead to riots and a lot of destruction. We hope nothing like that will happen, and the people in charge will listen to our demand. It's nothing to do with politics. It has absolutely nothing to do with politics. Is about fair representation. We want our voices to be heard. We have big numbers, and the registered voters from last elections in the Kombo, we make up 36, so about 40% of the total votes. So Banjul makes about less than 2%. So we have to take Banjul as an example because everyone knows where Banjul is one of the most important places in the country, our capital city for that matter. So if they make up 1.66%, which is less than 2% of the population, we make up about 40% of the population. They can have 3 MPs. five MPs. 3. You know, and what do we have? In Kombo is about 8. Is that correct, Mr. Conte? You could correct me if I'm wrong. But if you go by that number, they are 2%. They have 5. So you look at us 40%. That means we should have in Kombo alone at least about 12 MPs, 12 constituencies. We don't have that. And you look at the Busumbala ward or constituency, which was originally part of what they used to call Kombo North constituency. So Kombo North used to be Busumbala ward, Sane Mentereng, and New Yundum. So these 3, they divided into 3, which is good because this place is becoming so dense. You know, I remember as a little kid, you know, there were areas which were jungles basically. You know, there were thick woodlands in these areas, forests. You won't dare walk it by yourself at night. We used to be scared walking from Mandinarin to Lamin, for example. It's all joined. It's all settlement from Lamin all the way down to the river Gambia bank. And the same thing is the case from the airport gate in Yundum. You know, I remember as a little kid, we used to play around those areas. You know, that again, you know, is all settlements all the way up to Brufut, Sukuta, in fact, all the way up to the coast. So the whole of Kombo is settlements these days. We need more schools, like I said earlier. So we need more voices to represent us, to shout for these things, so we can be heard more and louder. So numbers are important. So if you have 12 MPs and we manage to lobby a few more, you know, maybe in a situation like that, when it comes to voting for these sort of changes, we'll be able to get it. And that's what democracy is all about. It's like I said, is fairness. So for people of Kombo to have more constituents, meaning more MPs or NAMs, they call it back home, means our problems will be heard more. You know, so you look at Kombo, Busumbala ward, which is where I belong. I am from Mandinaring. So you have Lamin, which is a major town in the Gambia. You have Yundum, you have Busumbala, you have Mandinaring, you know, you have Kerewan. In fact, that area alone it's got more votes than Banjul. So we have only 1. They have 5. I mean, where's the justice? It's not fair. You know, so we need more constituents so we can fight for what rightly belongs to us. We pay a lot of tax, you know. You look at this area that I've talked about just now, the Busumbala constituency, virtually all the oil that comes into the country, you imagine billions. This is the lifeline of the country. This is what keeps the lights going, the power going. This is what keeps the vehicles moving. This is basically the engine of the economy. All the oil depot, about 90% of the oil that comes into the country is stored in Mandinari. We don't have a fire station. I mean, look at the risk. You know, God forbid if we have an explosion, you know, the whole village will be set alight. There's no fire station. The nearest fire station is in Busumbala. This is why we need more representation, because these things will come to light. Then we can present these cases in the parliament, and people will know what our plight is, what our problems are. So this is just one example. But it's not only that, you know, Mandinari and Banjul, they are very close together. Most people don't know this, but they really are. If you stand at the riverbank in Mandinari, you can see Banjul across the water. You can literally see Banjul across the waters, you know? So, you know, the creek, the Denton Bridge, where those little boats are, tourist boats, they would come through the creeks into Mandinari when I was a little kid. They still do tourist excursions. So what I remember, some of the things that we used to do, we would climb up a tree. You could see Denton Bridge. You could see these boats coming slowly through the creek. It's that close. So, and this, for example, I'll give you this example. This oil depot is right on the riverbank. God forbid, you know, if it blows up, I hope it won't happen. It's on the riverbank. Banjul will not be spared, you know, because it's very close, you know. So it's lack of planning, it's lack of foresight, you know. People need to be more proactive, our leaders, rather than reactionary. They should know this, you know, that we're not properly represented. You know, they should know this before, you know, it gets to this level. And you know, even if we don't get the exact representation that we should get, which is what we demand, at least it won't be as bad as it is at the moment. And Mr. Conte, you also mentioned there in your discussion about the transportation. This is very important. In fact, in relation to my local area, which is the Busumbala constituency, Mandinari in particular, we get lots of lorries transporting this oil from this depot to the rest of the country, basically. So the only navigable, the only usable road from Mandinari is through Lamin. But Mandinari really is very close to Banjul by a river, and is about 10 miles away from Brikama if you go along the riverbank, right? So if there is foresight, you know, you want to transport the rest of this oil into the rest of the country to avoid these congested areas, the rest of Kombo roads, you know, the highways, if you like, the best route will be to create or build a decent road that connects Mandinari into Brikama that will get you all the way. It goes, there's a rural road there. It's just that it's not built, it's not tarred, but you know, you can use it. You just won't be able to drive a car through that road in the rainy season. If you have a truck, it's impossible. So, but this road, it goes through Makumbaya and then back of the airport, and then it leads all the way to Brikama, like outskirts, Brikama Crossing area. You know, if you're from Kombo, you know where, or that area, you know where the Crossing is in Brikama.
Yep.
So it goes almost to the back of Brikama. So can you imagine 50 trucks maybe every week, every 2 weeks, going through Lamin, you know, then that highway congesting the traffic further. No wonder the traffic from Turntable to Yundum Airport Junction is so congested, because you get all these lorries, they have nowhere to go. If they want to go to Brikama and Gunjur, Kombo East, Kombo South, and the rest of the country, they have to use these roads. So you have all these trucks using this road, competing with the smaller trucks, which, you know, there's only one winner. You can't have a 50-ton competing with a 2-ton car, you know. So you have to live in it. So this is some of the problems we know. For those of us who've had exposure outside, You know, in every major city planning in the Western, well, not even the Western, any part of the world, any advancing or properly planned place, any big city, major big city will have a ring road around it. So Kombo is almost like one big city, if you like. It's becoming like that. Kombo North, Kombo South, Kombo Central is almost all joined together. So Kombo East is slowly coming as well. So it will become one big. So we need a ring road. You know, you've mentioned this road that there's one road obviously that goes coastal. So that's like the other part of the arc of the ring road. It goes around the coastal areas to Gunjur, and then it should go around Brikama, and then this other road that I'm talking about, Prosma. So if you go from Tabokoto, you go to Lamin, Mandinaring, this back road, the back of the airport, this one I'm talking about, it will join it up. And before you know it, you have a circular road around Kombo like this. So if you, regardless where you live in Kombo, we don't have to compete with these major roads or the main roads in the middle of Kombo. You just go around the ring. If you say, if you come from, let me give an example. Um, let's say Pirang, for example. You traveling from Banjul. You come through Tabokoto, instead of going through the main road, Coastal Road and Airport Junction that way, you go through Tabokoto, Lamin, then the back road, Mandinaring, 10 kilometers, you're in that crossbar, you're outside, almost outside major parts of Kombo. Then there's that Trans-Gambia road, it leads you to Pirang. Quick journey. If you're on the other side, say Sajang, you go around the other end, then you go in. So you go, it keeps traffic moving. It's a ring road. Like this is some of these road layouts are already there. It's just a matter of connecting them up. You know, if we don't speak, we won't get any of this. You know, there's been a lot of talk, even like you said, during the time of Jawara, we had these roads will be built, but nothing's happened. We don't have fair representation. I think most of our problem boil down to that. We can put pressure on our own MPs to fight for this thing. I know our MP Sekuba has spoken about this in the parliament, but nothing's happened. But imagine if Sekuba did, I'd say we have 12 MPs all in Kombo, all speaking the same voice. I think we will get somewhere, you know, because it'll be louder. More people will hear about this. It will create more impact and more effect, you know. So this fair representation, you know, you cannot underestimate it. You know, we need to, as Kombonkas, we have to try and fight this and make sure we get what we deserve, because it's about justice. It's not politics. It's about justice. It's making sure we get our fair share of the cake. We contribute enough, you know, more than most regions in the country. We have the coastal area. Most of the coast is in Kombo. So everything that comes through that area we should benefit from it. Then you get the mouth of the River Gambia. You know, the southern part is in Kombo. You know, like I said, Mandinari along there, Faraba. You know, all that along that all that way, Kembuje, all the way to Faraba. That's ours as well. You know, plus you got this oil depot. You have a lot of hotels. You have the airport. You have power stations there. You know, what are we getting? What have we got so far? You know, it's unacceptable. We need to have these amenities, and having a fair representation will help us lobby for these things and try and get what we deserve, really.
Yeah.
You know, so
Thank you. No, thank you so much, Sawani. I mean, Mr. Jani was asking, it's like, Dave, is Kombo Iwakafo aware of this development? If yes, what is the Kafo's opinion? Also, do we have a lawyer to advise us on issues like the election bill 2020 and potential legal pathway to fight for our interests? I think Kombo Iwakafo, I think they should be aware of this. I don't know there is a position yet, but I'm sure they're aware, just like you are. I'm sure Sawane is and Dr. Conte is as Kombonkers. We follow the developments back home. But I'm not sure if there is a Kombo Uraka for position yet. I'm not too sure. But if you do, we shall let you know. And obviously, Ibrahim Jane was saying, welcome to Sawane again. And then he has a question for you, Mr. Sawane. He said, Mr. Sawane, we should, actually, just a comment really. We should not shy away from political maneuvers, since everything in the contemporary Gambia is anchored on political calculations. Obviously, the question, I mean, it's a comment to Sawane anyway, your Toma. I think you're very right. I mean, that quite, it rounds up rounds up very nicely what Sawane was saying. Really, everything is, we have this political calculation, and we have to be at the high table, because there's always political horse trading. So when you are on the high table, you don't have a representative. So when they say, this, if you want to call it a cake, you are not there, so you don't get your share. It's just basic, it's fundamental. So we have to demand this, because it's not been given to us. I think we've been meek as well for a very, very long time. I mean, none of us harbor political ambitions. I don't plan on going to Gambia. I got at least another 20 years before I'm a pensioner in the UK, so I'm not even thinking of going home. So, but that's not the point. We come to a time. There is a time and a place for everything, and I think right now is the opportunity we have. Between now and 2021, I think we have about 451 days before the election. I think Kombo need to we need to get our act together, and I think if we move, I am very confident we'll make some headway. And when it comes to this going to court to counter this in court, I think is very important. I think this is something we'll have to do, whether we do this as a Kombo Ruakafo, as Kombonkers, as Brufudinkers, or individuals. I think this is important, and we also would like Gambians, other Gambians, to join us in this, because Gambia, like Kombo, is the beating heart of the Gambia. Really, really. So if Kombo suffers, everywhere else suffers. Think about it. I mean, even though when it comes to network infrastructure, when it comes to roads, everything else, relative to when we go to Gambia, relative, that's quite poor, it's quite backward. But to Gambians, that's the pinnacle, that's the ultimate. So if Kombo don't even have functioning systems, what about the rest of the country? So it's important Gambians see us when we fight for what is right and what is just, and we fight for things to be done properly in the Gambia to improve the lot of Kombonkers. Let them look at it as us working for the betterment of the whole of the Gambia. It's very, very important. And I think we're only quite late here now, but I thought I just want to touch back on what Dr. Conte saying earlier on. I think just to say, I think there are some very principled people in the Gambia. There might be few or far between, but we do have some very, very principled people in the Gambia. We have people in these civil society organizations, we don't need to name names because, but there is Madi Jobate. Myself and Sawane, we went to school with him. So he was our schoolmate. And then he's a warrior. He's been there, he's standing, he's somebody who's steadfast, and we know we can rely on him. Nothing will deter him. And it's so many others like him there. So there are people with principle back home. The problem with Gambia is been for a very long time, and I'm not a politician, I'm not a political scientist, but just from my own crude observation, I would say our people are very lethargic. You see, our people can argue, they can discuss, or they can get outraged, but the next step is always that is missing. Sometimes the next step is like organizing yourselves into a group, organizing yourself into challenging legal challenges, but they don't happen. There are societies and communities in the Gambia who do this. They do this, and we can see it's for their betterment. When the government decided that they need to expand the port in Banjul people stood up. What happened? They got compensated, because they network amongst themselves and they know what's right. So this is what has been missing. And like Ibrahim said, when we single Banjul, it's not because of it's anything against them, because like you said, they're the capital city. For a very, very long time, it is like everybody look up to Banjul. You think Banjul Banjul is New York to Gambians, if you know what I mean. So, but these people they've organized themselves, and then it's actually better them as a people, as a community. Even though they don't live in that community anymore, they've moved out, but they still got these networks. So that's what we want to build, and I don't think anybody should envy us. And then, unlike Banjul, when Kombonkers talk and we complain and we are trying to get the government and the country to see our point of view, we are fighting for the rest of the Gambia. Like I said, we are the beating heart of that country. And we are not being arrogant to say this. This is just true. It's just the truth. We are the beating heart of that country. So it's very important. I think we're running very late now. I don't know. We still got about. I'm happy to go on until 9 o'clock. That's not a problem. I don't know about Dr. Conte, what your schedule is.
I'm fine.
I'm quite happy also for us to go for the next 18 minutes. Then I'll give the floor back to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Swane. You had touched on something I want to reiterate the last time I came here. if we look at the total number of registered voters, again, I do believe that representation should be based on the population instead of the registered voters. But in the Gambia, based on the last registration, they had 886,578 registered voters. So by looking at the total registered voters in Brikama administrative area, it's 281,115, which is 31.71% of the of registered voters. So if we talk about equal representation, then we should have 17 reps. But we have 7. We have 7. We have 7. We have 7 in Kombo and 5 in Fonyi, 12. So we actually need 5 more members of parliament. Kanifing has only 22 point. Kanifing also has 22.6% of the total registered voters, and by right, they should have 12. So we don't have representation. But if they are going to make Sana Mentoring as one constituency, and then Brikama as one constituency, then we can make an argument. What is the rationale for you to leave KMC intact, but disintegrate Kombo, the other area of the Brikama and Sana Mentoring? So I don't understand whether the majority leader, who happens to be from Kombo South, maybe this illusion they have in their head, I don't want to speak, for him, but Kafoko Intera Deputy Banco, wole more Seattle mobile Deputy Banco. Maybe that may be the rationale. I don't know. But I think we should now begin to open conversation. I am going to try to speak to at least one member of parliament. I'm going to call. If he doesn't pick up the phone, I'm going to write to him and tell him we need to talk, because this is something that's going to affect you within in a short period of time, because you will no longer be an MP if they combine Brikama North and Brikama South. So which means that if we take a look at this representation, if you look at the total percentage, the percentage of registered voters, Brikama administrative area and Kanifing, we have 54%. So again, I also do believe that we can have a leeway by engaging the APRC reps, because we are all in the same area. We said we're not going to say, well, you come from a smaller constituency, why do you have this? We don't. We're going to tell them that if they can do this to our area, they're going to come after you too. One can make a compelling argument. And I think if we engage DOI, I do believe that they will entertain our conversation. Basse has only 13% of the total registered voters, and by right they should have 7. When we look at Karawan has 7. Karawan has 11.5. One can say 12% of the registered voters. But by right, they should only have 6. But let's go back and count Karawan. You have the Lower Nyomi, Upper Nyomi, Jokadu, Lower Badibu, Central Badibu, Ileasa constituency, and Sabak Sanya. So they have one more than they should have. If we want to talk about equal representation, Janyambure, of course, Janyambure has 7.5% of the registered voters. By right, they should only have 4. But they have 6 or 7. Is that fair representation? We have the numbers to argue. Mansa Congo is only 5.6%. By right, they should only have 3 constituencies. But can I tell you what? In Kiang, they have 3 reps. In Jara, they have 3. So which means that if they take the numbers away from us, guess what? We will have the same representation as what? As Mansa Konko. And mind you, Mansa Konko can go into Sane Mentoring 3 times. Kuntaro also is 5.7% of the population, registered voters. They should actually have 3. But let's go and count them. You have Lower Salum, Upper Salum, Nyanija, Nyani, and Same. So if they cut our numbers, then we have no voice in parliament. We have no voice totally in parliament. Because you look at a place that has only 5.7% of registered voters, almost equal number of representation in parliament. Tell me if a bill comes, we will not win. So this is one area that we need to sit down and engage other political parties. I am willing to extend an olive branch to UDP to say that this Kombo thing, we all need to come together and solve it. We cannot sit idle and accept that. Yes, Mr. Swana, you talked about something which is, it just reminded me about the highway. If you have a loop, if you create a loop, even here in the metropolitan cities in the US, you will have a major highway that will have 2 numbers, maybe like Highway 64. That will lead you all the way down. It will be a thoroughfare all the way down from the beginning of the state all the way down to the end. But then when you get to the metropolitan area, guess what? They will have 3 numbers, maybe 264. And then when you take that 264, guess what it does? It loops you around town. But in the Gambia, we don't have that luxury. So I guess Sadada's government, urban planning was not something that they thought it was feasible. What I still do believe in is a nightmare, because for the life of me, what I don't understand, is because someone told me and you confirmed that if you are in Mandela, you can even see lights in Banjo. So if we had a bridge over there, it will reduce nightmare. I was also talking about the fact, that every major development they want to do at the port, they always want to put it in Banjo. I said, well, when I first graduated from college, I had a job with, what we call contingency planning. I know, Dave, that's your area. If you deal with computers, you always have to have disaster recovery. Because you say that the data that you have, there's a possibility that you can have what? You can have a tornado, you can have a flood, and there's a possibility that the documents that you have, the storage stuff that the tapes that you have, of course, now everything is in cloud, but then you have to find alternate sites to resume your production right away. So companies do that. Then I'm wondering, even when we talk about Banjul, this port expansion, of course, they compensated those people, they gave them cash even before they left. But someone told me about an old man from Sukuta whose land was taken away from him, and they promised to compensate him until he died. Every time, Nazada Yeko Bilo Somalang, Fafata. So this is what they've been doing to our people. And I think if we have right-minded people like you, but we should begin to have the conversation. Let's try and open the door. Even the member of parliament for Kombo South, I think if we reach out to him and just tell him, frankly, this is you're talking about. Look at the black sand mining that is happening in our area. Look at the destruction of our environment. Look, you saw, Dave, I thought, Mr. Sohan, I don't know whether you read something about this Alcalo of Kartong. They, the TDA 800 meter thing from the high sea all the way down. There was a Caucasian who owned a lodge over there, and I think this Caucasian left. But the government leased this from the people of what? Khartoum. And now you have a private citizen who's claiming to have that land. And the man is saying that the Alcalo should not be suing him. He should sue the government or something, which I thought it was ridiculous. So these are areas where when we talk about issues affecting Kombo, we are talking about this is going to affect generations and generations to come. So for some of us who have the finance, the ability to hire a lawyer to represent us in Parliament, I will be more than happy to join all of you. Any person who wants to go to do this, because we are not talking about tribe here. So do you see how important this is so relevant? That we don't care about tribe. While other areas, they confine themselves into looking at what tribe you are, what religion you are. But for us in Kombo, we are talking about affecting our bottom line. And if it affects your bottom line, if you get sick, no one cares what tribe you are. If you are out there in that traffic and there's a traffic jam, no one cares about your tribe. You are a Gambian. And I think we should also begin to have this conversation. Because I was not even thinking about this. When I talked about the hotels in San Elementary, you will have all these resources, but your resources are taken away from you. Do you know that Banjul actually gets paid for the duties that people pay for the ships to come down to through Banjul? They have that appropriation in their budget. But I did not know that the storage facilities of oil that comes into Mandinaring, destroying your roads, polluting your environment, a toxic environment. People, when you sleep at night, no one knows who's inhaling what. We don't have any environmental impact statement. We don't have any oxygen study. We don't have any CO2 study at night. Our people, when they are sleeping, what kind, and we don't even have any study on whether the cancer rate in Mandinaring is higher, the cancer rate in Lameng, whether it is higher, because I used to teach in a town. They have this, what you call the paper mill. They make paper. Do you know, Dave and Mr. Swane, they have the highest rate of cancer in the whole of North Carolina because of that paper mill. So do we know whether the people in Mandinaring, do we know whether the people in Lameng, do we know whether they have higher rate of cancer? So come on, we went to school. This is the reason why we went to school, to learn. We went to school to bring new ideas. And the new ideas will be the fact that we have an equal representation. And since Mr. Swane, you brought up this important topic about the storage facilities, no, we cannot sit down and accept it. The next government that's going to come in, we have a position for you to, this environmental thing in Mandinaring, it has to be discussed. And I want to thank you, Mr. Ibrahima, for bringing this to our attention, because I don't think we even thought about it. Dave, have you heard of it?
Yes, obviously, because I've spoken to Ibrahim before. So
very good. Thank you, Mr. Conte. That was quite moving, really, because it hit home really hard. This is I mean, you mentioned about the storage facility in Mandinari. There's also the riverbank, that area. You know, when I look at Kombo these days, right, I look at it in 3 sections, right? So there's 3 sections. The first section is along the coast. So you have the coastal belt, then you have the middle belt. The coastal belt involves Kersering, Tanje, you have your Sanyang, Brufut, all the way up to Katong. That's the coastal belt. The middle belt is more of Tabokoto. Then you come through Lamin, Old Yundum, and it goes through Yundum, in fact, to Busumbala and Brikama. So that's the middle belt. Then you have the riverbank belt, right? The riverbank belt that involves people on the riverbank, obviously, as the name denotes. So you have Mandinari, which is right at the mouth. You have Banjul and you have Mandinari. That's how close they are to each other, at the mouth of the river. Then you have Mandinari, you have Kubune, then you have what's it called? Kembuje. Then it goes along there all the way up to the Fonyas and the hinterlands. So there's these three sections. So at the moment, you know, if you look at it, there's a lot of destruction in Kombo, and these destructive activities are centered in the areas where they are close to these river resources. So on this belt, on Mandinaring belt, just off the riverbank, they've allocated a section for petroleum development, which, you know, we all understand. You know, we need to have the country needs to advance. We need to try and, you know, create our own products so we can keep ourselves going, you know, into the 21st century. Then, you know, but these factories that are being built around us, they just clandestine Chinese people coming. Basically, what they do is they just bring anybody can do that. It reminds me a little bit of the pictures that I see in the Nigerian rivers delta state. You see people with big barrels with firewood underneath it. They're just, it's very rudimentary, very basic. You just heat the crude oil up and then it separates. So you get your you know, you get some gasoline, you get gasoline, you get kerosene, you get different kind of products from this, grease, etc. So this is what the Chinese are doing. So they don't meet international standards. There's no proper safety checks, like you've said. So in fact, MRC has said that in Mandinarin there's a high incidence of chronic obstructive airway diseases. You know, like asthma, for example. Asthma obviously is caused by pathogens, so you don't get asthma from smoke, but or chemical products, but it suppresses your immune system. So when your immune system is suppressed, we know these infectious illnesses exist in our community. So you are more susceptible of catching these diseases. So there's these things. There's higher anecdotal evidence of people stillbirth. You know, children dying in the womb. We've noticed this among ourselves. We were talking as a diaspora organization of Mandinaring, but you know, we want to do something about it. But these things will only work better if we work together as a whole unit. This is what is making Banjul so effective. You know, you can't blame the Banjulians too much, you know, and we're not blaming them. You know, they played the game and they played it really well. What we need to do as well is we need to enter the game. You know, we need to enter in this game and play. We can play just as good as they do. You know, we all went to the same schools. We have the same exposures, the same experiences. You know, anything they do, we can do it. Maybe we can do it, in fact, better because we have the numbers. So we need to enter this game, and you know, we're latecomers, it seems. You know, we're too late to get in this. It's becoming nearly late. There's a wholesale environmental degradation in our coastlines. Again, the Chinese are the main culprits. You know, our livelihood is being destroyed in broad daylight. Our fish just gets thrown on the beach. You know, this is criminal. These things should not be allowed. You know, this is not just a Kombo issue. If you imagine all that fish, all those catches, if it goes into the hand of the fishermen in Kombo, and we know not all these fishermen are Kombonkas, really. Some of them are seasonal, they come and they go. They have this fish in their hand. They will sell it to Kombo. If the Kombonkas, you know, can't buy it all, they want it to, you know, further afield. You know, this is protein. This is basic stuff. You know, so it's nothing against Banjul. They've played the game well. We've entered the game. We've entered late, and now we need to like Dr. Conte just said. You know, the discussion has to start. In fact, the discussion starts but it needs to be ramped up a little bit more. You know, we need the people on the ground to support us. You know, we understand in the Gambia at the moment is the election season. So, you know, as it is, we know how the game is. People live from mainly hand to mouth. You know, everybody depends on the state for their income, basically. So you feel like if you speak too much, you know, you won't get your bread. You won't get a job, because that's what happened. This is what we've come from. Yahya Jammeh's system. You speak against the state, you get sacked. There's a little bit of it, you know, even though it's not as bad as before, but this mentality still exists. You know, so people are scared to speak up, but we need our people on the ground back home to come on board. And then if we work together, you know, from diaspora end to people back home, we'll be able to effect a lot of changes. If Kombo becomes better, that will benefit Banjul more. In fact, on this coastal area, you mentioned about the shipping port. I never knew Banjul had revenue, but this makes sense because I have a friend who worked in the port. He's currently in the UK, works in the UK now, with on the tube in London, but he's from a marine engineering background. So he's told me that they have actually had a survey before this expansion project started. They had a survey, geological survey, to see where best would we be able to build a port that fits the 21st century demand, right? You go to like in London, they're building ports that could take 50 ships. Yeah. You know, what are we doing? We're expanding it to what, 3 or 4? I mean, are we joking? How are we going to compete with Senegal? They're expanding their ports to 12 to be able to harbor 12 ships. You know, this is a joke. The reason they can't expand it anymore is because Banjul cannot take it. They just don't have the geologically, it won't be able to take it. The best place to build a 21st century port is Mandinari, but the people in Banjul will not like that, because obviously this revenue will get lost. You know, this is their worry. A lot of the people, the rumors I had is people in Banjul think if the port authority moves from Banjul, Banjul will slowly die. You know, at the moment, a lot of people have moved out. A lot of people depend on the ports for their job and obviously creates income for the place. But we need to start thinking beyond Banjul. You know, you have to think the country. If you can build a big port like that in Mandinari, the Banjul docks or the Banjul port can be used for for local transportation. You know, like people who wants to go to Senegal, people on the northern bank want to come into so that can be used basically for local transport. And you can have a fitting 21st century seaport in Mandinari, for example. You know, this sort of basic things are getting pushed aside and they get brushed under the carpet. But we won't know this. You know, I don't have the truth. It's all a little bit of a speculation, but it does make sense, because you say something, I say something, this is why there's a connection there. But if we're not represented, and like DF, you just say we're not at the table where these things are decided, we won't know. We won't have an idea.
You have no idea.
You know, I think our young people as well need to, the educators, the educated ones really need to try and show an interest in politics. And, this is our right. Everybody has right to be in State House. Every Gambian has, so we can't see it in this traditional way that, political munyo makweldi or is political mu barakandi. We need to get involved. This is where the decisions are made. We need to be at the table. Say, for example, if you have somebody from Lamino, Mandinari, or someone who knows our local plight, probably it won't turn out that way. But Banjul are connected. Banjul are connected. Like I said, they played the game. They played it well since Jawara's time. They were the only players then, I could say, largely. And nowadays we are getting in, and we will continue to push to be more involved and try and encourage our people to do this. It's really important we get represented, so we are present where these decisions are made. You can't just be non-educated people or the not so educated people running after the politicians. Because when they win, they won't get the best jobs. Where these decisions are made, they won't be there. So our educated, elites need to show a bit more interest, and they need to be heard, they need to be seen. So when it comes to the crunch, when the elections are won, we can say, oh, so and so has been a keen follower of his part. Why is he not so and so? Because this is his expertise. Why is he not Minister of Trade? Because he's fit to be. But if you don't show yourself, nobody knows you're present. Politics is interesting. People who did the dirty job, they're the ones who are gonna get the jobs, basically. The ministerial job, because they are political appointments.
Yes,
So
indeed.
this is important.
Yeah.
We get involved, and we come together. We start this conversation. We move it forward, rank it up a little bit, crack it up, so that our voice is heard. There's a few. Well, there's some of there's quite a number of people, our Kombunkers connected, but you don't get to hear from them. You don't get to hear. You don't even know where they stand with this matter. Because they don't come to the public arena and say these things. But it's to their own advancement, is to the advancement of the whole country. Because if Kombo does well, the rest of the country will do well, because we represent the whole country. Everybody from everywhere in the country has got a little stake in Kombo.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's everybody's interest. I will pass you on, because if you can.
Yeah. Yes. The conversation is nice. We actually enjoying it. But it's 9 o'clock. Unfortunately, we have to wrap up very soon. I thought. Well, I mean, it's been wonderful. Really. It's been long, but it's been good. It's been comprehensive. I think, which is very important here. So what I would say, rather, definitely to say, Dr. Conte, you can probably give us our closing remarks, and then we can probably close it for tonight until next Monday.
Actually, thank you, Mr. Ibrahima Swane. Dave, you have actually made me a Nyancho, but remember, I'm only 25%.
Yeah, it's okay.
of Sane. I'm 25% Sane, but you have touched on something, and Mr. Swane had also touched on something, that the pollution that is going on in Mandinari. We need to talk about it. I am willing, and I know all of you, we all are willing to engage our brothers and sisters, irrespective of our political affiliations, our orientations, to ensure that the equal. If we don't sit at the table, you won't have the cake.
No.
And remember, even the Land Commission, not a single Kombonka. Remember also, since Sadauda's time, we never had a Kombonka as Minister of Local Government and Lands. Yeah, Jame did. You can say every bad thing about him, at least he had Kombonkas there. And this administration also is taking us for granted. So when it comes to the interest of Kombo, I think we all should join hands together and forget about what happened yesterday. I am very, very much concerned about Mr. Swane talked about something. If we're going to have a port in Mandinari, the old Trans-Gambia Highway could be a good place to go. But these are things that we need to go. So what I want to say to you, viewers, and the panelists, of course, Dave Manny leading the show, that let's come together. Let's put our hands together. Let's. Well, we don't want to create any commotion, civil disobedience. No, I don't believe in that. Because Barrow's government, at least you can say, people said a lot of nasty things about him, but you haven't heard the president say anything negative. So just like they are trying to use the law, let's also try to engage our politicians. Maybe we'll get our numbers if we get the people. If DOI representatives, I'm sure, will join us. So we make our case, because if you don't speak up, nobody's going to speak on your behalf. For far too long, our people have suffered. You can go all the way back to 1962, during Sadauda's time. I remember, when I was a child, you can pass Banjulunding with your eyes closed. Lameng, to be quite candid, you can pass Lameng in less than a minute or two. But now, if you go to that area, Busumbala used to be known for a lot of accidents, people getting killed over there. So we don't have any. Yeah, but Busumbala used to be that. It used to be known for having so many traffic accidents and so forth, and up till today it is. So, but that beside the point. When it comes to this representation, let's work together. When it comes to this environmental pollution, let's come together. And when it comes to equal share of the cake, because if Banjul can get proceeds from import duties, and monitoring is storing fuel residue and so forth, and they are using monitoring roads, West Coast region and so forth. We don't have anything. So again, I'm happy to be here. This should be something that we all should work together collectively. I'm going to try. I want you to do your part too, to call the reps that you know. And let's begin to have this conversation. Let's begin to have conversation with UDP to tell UDP folks that you have more to lose here. Because if they are going to reduce representation in Sanamentering to only one, you're going to lose 2 MPs. If they're going to get the number out again in Brikama and make it 1, you're going to lose another one. There's going to be 3. So we are going to make our case. I know that our brothers and sisters in KMC, we want to work with them. But we are, in my view, I don't think it's fair for KMC's numbers to stay, but for us on the other side, our numbers are going to decrease. And we should put this to battle. If UDP guy came here and I stood up, we all stood up against what's going on to say we need your political party's view, then my God, NPP, we are also going to hold them accountable. Since I know that somebody had to introduce this. It came from what? Did it come from the Attorney General's office? If it does come from there, it represents the executive. So if the executive is going to bring such a law in the Gambia, then my God, we Kombonkers should also stand up. Even if I have to close my nose and vote for UDP, I will when it comes to this issue of Kombo, when it comes to the environmental disaster that is happening, the pollution that is happening in the greater part of Kombo. So enough of this partisan stuff. Let's care about where we come from, because if we don't stand up for our people, who else do you think going to stand up for us? Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, thank you. Before we end, what's he called? Mr. Carl Bojang just joined us. Just said Salaam alaikum warahmatullahi. And then Famara Dami also joined. Famara was actually meant to join us today, but he couldn't do it because of work. But they're all watching us. A lot of Kombonkers watchers, whether we know it or not. These messages get shared out. Just to remind, just to conclude, basically, to close. Today's the topic was about the proposed bill 2020, which basically is trying to to combine the old what we used to have Kombo not has a constituency which been subsequently divided into 3. They want to merge it back together into Kombo not. So not putting into consideration that the population size is actually increased proportionately. Obviously, the electoral, the number of registered voters will also increase. But it all goes back to this calculation whereby Kombonkers are marginalized. We are not at the high table. Like I said, politics is all about winning, and there is horse trading. So we also need to horse trade. And then, yes, we need to work with politicians. We need to follow through the legal process. It's so many things we have to do. We have to be multi-pronged approach, but we have to make sure that the status quo doesn't remain. If it remains, Kombo for 60 years we've been receiving enough injustice. If we miss this, this is the boat. If we miss this boat, we are doomed. And I don't want to have the responsibility on my head for the rest of my life, because I'm going to pass it on to my kids. I don't want that, and I'm sure all of you don't want that. So that's why we'll have to work together. I thank my friend Ibrahim Sawane, and I thank Dr. Conte. Madad Banka was the host. He came earlier, but then obviously he ran into some technical problems, so he couldn't join us again. Mfamara was meant to join us. He couldn't either because of work. Normally, our host would be Mr. Ahmed Manjam, but he's traveled today. But in behalf of everybody, the technical staff who do a wonderful job, Mr. Jamme and Mr. Two James, Abubakar and Lamin, we want to say thank you to everybody and wish you all the very best. This is a combined effort. We have to combine our resources together. We have to think together. We have to do something. It's come to that stage. Good night, everybody. We say Assalamu alaikum. Allah baraka baraka mulbi.
Baraka.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Everyone has a purpose, and it is this purpose you pursue that defines you. The reason why we, Dalaba Eco Lodge, located on the Gunjur-Brikama Highway, is here is to create peaceful environment and conducive atmosphere for our esteemed guests, both nationals and those who choose the Gambia as their final destination. Our accommodations are modern standards, well-spaced and well-ventilated seminar and conference rooms. There is no other excellent venue for your birthdays and wedding programs than Dalaba Eco Lodge. So come and experience our affordable luxuries in sustainable environment. Our rooms are inside our gardens filled with sweet-smelling flowers and cozy feelings of nature. Frequent visits to the Gunjut Sandy Beach with our wonderful transport services at no cost is all the time available. To enchant your stay furthermore, at Dalaba Eco Lodge, we create the following: bird watching, bike rentals for visiting local markets, and many other places of interest, city tours and boat trips, etc. For more details, you can take the digits 00220 360 7043. Email dalabaecolodge78@gmail.com. Facebook Dalaba Eco Lodge Gambia. Book your places now to experience memorable adventures one cannot afford to miss.